Hi everyone. I just want to talk a little bit about stiffening fabric and other things, and did a little bit about it in the last video, and I just thought let's do an experiment. I love to experiment. So that's just a cheap PVA glue. What is a PVA glue? Well, you can get carpenter's glue, white glue, that is craft glue. Basically it is a whitish color and it dries clear. So rather than having it full strength, half and half perhaps, I suppose it would depend on your glue, but this is what we're experimenting with. So mixing it. Now you can buy proper products that are stiffeners. You can use cornstarch and other things that have been used for a very long time. But I just wanted to experiment with something simple. So, organza. There's another one. Lace, ordinary material. Virtually anything you want to name, really. What I like is that it makes it easier to cut. It makes a nice nice straight cut. Now I've got something plastic underneath here, and I am just going to do this. I'm just going to wet it thoroughly, and it will stick to that plastic. When it dries out, I'll peel it off. So there we go. Done. I'm also going to try this bit, because I'm just wanting to experiment. And who knows, if you don't experiment, you don't find out. Alright, and why not this? This is something else we had. Plain fabric. This is a Bali batik, so it's just a patchwork and quilting fabric. So I'm just sort of saturating it. I'm not going to turn it over and do it because I don't think I'd need to. It's soaking all the way through to the plastic, non-absorbent backing there. Right, so there's three things. Now originally I was talking to people about silk, so I will try and find some whilst I'm there. Look at that. Let's try that. A bit of that. And now, if you're ever trying to stop something from fraying on the edge, I know I talked about this with one lady who does not like doing slow stitching. She can't get used to this frayed edge, and I said, well, you can always use a bit of this, and that really worked for her because it stopped it from fraying on the edge. Just on the edge she needed to do it, just on the edge like that. Alright, so that's something else there. What else do we try? Lace. Well, lace has traditionally been done, so we could stiffen that. I would quite like to. Another thing, see, in this instance I'm just going to do that. Dip it in. But perhaps I don't want it to dry flat. Perhaps I'm after something that, I don't know, does a little, yeah, well, let's do that. Let's just see what it does. Now, what else could we play with? Oh, I wonder if we could laminate two things together. What if we had some threads or something? Would be better if they matched, but this is just to experiment, isn't it? Some threads behind it, and we do that on top, and let's see what happens there in our experiment. I'm just going to try this bit of organza too because it's pretty. This is a two-tone one that's gold or blue depending. What I'm getting at is I wonder if we can laminate. I know we can try different fabrics. Also, I think we can mold different shapes. I'm using a bit of plastic behind here, and it's unfortunately it was rolled up, so it's not terribly successful, but some of that as well, I think. This is cigarette paper, and it is tragically difficult to cut without it going everywhere, so I'm just going to try some of it as well. Now you can buy things that are spray bottles of stiffening stuff for fabric, Stiffy. It's all different brands. Or you could make your own if you had a little spray bottle. With a nice weak solution, and you just see what it does. So, we have some things there that we can attempt, and we'll see. Whilst it's drying, let's have a look at some other things, okay? How about this? So I was wondering, you know, with yarns and things. Alright, I'm going to try this. Some ordinary stranded cotton. I wonder what it would do if you just going to try and separate some of them out a little bit and leave the other end with them joined. I'm not sure the best way to do it. You know, if they were black, I would think they're trees in the distance. So, oops. There's got to be a better way. I'm sure I'd figure it out eventually. Or perhaps they're flowers. Well, worth an experiment to see though, isn't it? See what we end up with. There. Well, that should be fun. I'm sure we can think of something to make with that. I don't know. Bit of knotted cotton here. Wonder what that could be. Rather than show it out. That's a bit of mohair. I doubt if I'll get that to stay. this will be. Just something. But it just brings to mind, you know, what could we do? And some people feel very intimidated by different things, especially a blank page or having to do too many things at once. But I just sort of think, well, maybe if you did this, this seems to be turning into a little underwater something, doesn't it? Bit of this, bit of that. Quite nice. You know, and you can sort of take the time to say, okay, I'd like you over there, and perhaps you want to put some glitter on, or all kinds of things you could possibly do. What's this? Yes, let's look at this. I like these tubular ribbons because I like to see what they do. Sometimes they unravel and do interesting things, sometimes not. So let's have a look. Look at that, I just pulled a string and look what we got there. Alright, let's say we wanted something that was like a little there, like a little flower perhaps. It's cute. Oops, sticking to me now. Uh-oh. Might put a dab down and see if that, oh yes, that helped it to stay, didn't it? Well, whilst we're here, I did take a piece of lace like this, and I just tried it with a bit of a hump in the middle. You know, just seeing if we could make it three-dimensional a little bit. And here I've taken some wool, ordinary 8-ply wool. I'm going to make it 4 different pieces. Who knows what it should be. And I was thinking, what happens if we take the end bits and we do that? Because what I was thinking, can we make, you know how these look like little tiny trees? Can we make a big one? And, you know, dividing it at the end and dividing it at the end. Just hoping. He is hoping, eh? That looks like a group of trees to me. Scary skeletons. Maybe against a really nice sunrise. That'd be beautiful. Right, so now imagine if we had a really simple little landscape. We had a little hill, a nice sky behind, and this on the hill. Okay. Now everything has had a chance to dry, so I'm just wanting to have a quick look at how it went. See how it's stuck to the plastic, but it peels off. And this is that cigarette paper that really is something that frays shockingly. But I had wondered, you know, with the stiffening it, perhaps we were doing something like an ocean and we wanted some caps of the waves that we could put under, maybe some gauze or something. Now look how that cut that out lovely, you know, can you see that? And crisp. So that's why, you know, these things are handy to have some of. This was the silk, and it's a little bit darker than it was to start with, but and it's almost papery. So, you know, I think this was a blouse or a scarf from the op shop. But once again, if we wanted to do as complicated as you want kind of little thing like that, and that's going to be fine. And this one was the organza. And this is the one that we tried to laminate. I don't know how successful that will be. But, you know, then we might find a use for something like that. You know, where we've added several layers. Sometimes they've stuck. We've managed to make our own fabric, basically, with different layers. Now, see how this fabric here, and the other one, there's no film on the other side, but this one, it made a film, plasticky film. So it's just, you know, good to experiment and see. That one, you know, there's something startlingly oceanish about that. Let's have a go. Or maybe you were doing flames from a dragon's mouth or something else equally wonderful. Now I'm just quickly doing something to show you the use of it. You know, why did I bother? Because that cut out lovely. I'll put that one there, like that. There. See, in the caps of the waves, and we'd see it over the top. So everything would go together nicely without too much bother. Alright, so I'm struggling with this because it's not flat. And take all of these things off and then we'll play. This is the other one. On here we did threads. So what do we have? We had this one. And I think it's going to be the same. That we just... Okay, so look at that. There's a bit of a film there too of leftover. I don't think it really worries me. Imagine if we did a series of French knots each side of that. That would be quite pretty. This one here was unusually, you know, we tried all kinds of things. It might stick together. It might not come off. Give it a little coax. Oh. So you could adhere that to paper or to fabric. That looks kind of nice, and it's just bits and pieces of stuff. And our lovely little trees. So I think everything worked out pretty well. Here, this is where I said I'd pushed a curve into it. Maybe I want to do something, you know, three-dimensional. But it's all still soft enough to do something with. So that's great. I am getting a bit of film there. But I still don't think it's a big worry. Perhaps if I had that, perhaps it's underneath that and that's coming up. Perhaps we've got a bit of that kind of thing happening. You know, these look like interesting coral, don't they? Just to quickly pop something together. Now, did these work? I think I'd have to be a little bit more careful about how I did that. Maybe pick it up like that. Think about it, Tracey. Right there. There's one. So let's say it has some things on it like that. And as we're doing some little French knots or something up there, we're holding them on as well. So trees or flowers or all kinds of things. But see how they stayed together like that, and that's pretty nice. And now these with the flowers. Don't know about that. Yep. Perhaps that's a coral or something. Anyway, nothing goes to waste. You've got little bits and pieces of threads that have knotted or something, you know, or yarns that have unraveled, perhaps. There we go, pop that there. You can be coming out like that. Are we getting somewhere? Probably. And this is the one that I was most interested in, I must say. Okay, let's have a look. It's coming. There. But doesn't that just look like some great trees? Some nice colours here that are like a sunset or something. And maybe we'd like to use some of this as well, you know, across there, something. And what else have we got? These aren't the right ones, but I don't care at the moment. Let's just have a look at that, because what I'm wanting to see is how nice would that look against it, you know. Something like that I think I could really do something with, you know. And we will play. We've certainly got an underwater one there, you know. We've got all kinds of things there, and I just think it adds a little something to your palette, to your toolbox, you know. Instead of buttons and things, maybe you can make some of your own little bits and bobs to add, and I think it's quite useful. Well, I do hope you've enjoyed playing and experimenting along with me with stiffened fabrics, yarns and threads. I've just quickly popped these on a background just to see how they would look, and I think, you know, we're really onto something. So I have a little bit more that footage that I've played with. Perhaps I'll pop that up next for you. Anyway, if you've liked this, do press like and subscribe, and see you next time.